Hey guys, welcome along to Hellmouth Hotline. I'm your host, Rodney Stewart. We're getting into some more Buffy Season 2. Now, in every season of a show, it's highly unlikely that you're going to get an entire run of incredibly strong episodes. Now, in total, I would think Season 2 is one of the best seasons of Buffy, in my opinion. I really enjoyed Season 2, but this episode, I would have to say, don't get me wrong, it has its moments in there, but it definitely, for me, is the weakest of this season so far. It is called Go Fish, and it is episode 20. Alright guys, so in this episode, essentially, Sunnydale is going to be put on the map for the swim team that they have there. They're finally going places, and the members of the swim team have been treated like celebrities for a change, and they're on the verge of putting the school on the map in like the regional finals and that sort of thing. But at the beginning of the episode, one of the swim team members gets killed, let's just say, or that's what they lead you to believe. They see the off screen, you hear this guy screaming, and then we see this just like flesh and the whole inside's gone, but in the background you see this sea creature disappearing up a drain, sort of a deal. But it could have been done a little bit better, because I was kind of, and I'm not just saying this because I've seen this episode before, but I do remember at the time when I seen it, I was just like, they've kind of tipped their hand a little bit too obviously at the beginning of this episode. So, as a viewer, you're kind of ahead of the storyline the entire way through this episode. Getting further into the episode, Buffy arrives at the school in a car with Cameron, a member of the swim team. He makes persistent sexual advances that she's not up for. So she slams his head against the steering wheel, and she's taken to the office and threatened by the principal. Snyder, as usual, he's just considers her the troublemaker, constantly trying to get rid of her. And yes, it's not gone down well for Buffy in this episode when it comes to the swim team. Giles informs Buffy that the remains of another member of the team, Dodd, were found on the beach after the party. The gang then try to determine what killed him, and they go into the books, start researching for whatever they can get a hold of. Xander bumps into Cameron, who rubs his elite status as a member of the swim team in Xander's face, and goes to the cafeteria for a snack. And Xander, of course, hears him scream, and when he goes to check out what happens, he finds the whole cafeteria destroyed and Cameron's skin on the floor, just like a guy at the beginning of the episode, and a humanoid sea creature standing there going all grr and whatnot. So in the library, Cordelia, she tries her hardest to sketch the creature that Xander saw. And I was just thinking to myself while I was watching this episode again, I wonder, was the sea creatures kind of influenced by Merman from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, because they are a little bit, of course they're sea creatures and whatnot, and so is Merman, but the similarities are striking and how they look compared to what Merman was back in the 80s. And I'm just wondering, was it a little bit of a nod to the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon? And I might actually, as I'm recording this podcast, just go and see if there's any references to that on the internet, but I don't think there will be. Anyway, Cordelia, she's trying to sketch the creature. Buffy and Willow come to the library, having been informed that Cameron and Dodd were the two best swimmers on the boys' team, and they start to think, okay, someone's after the swim team, so it's, the two best swimmers is gone, the third best would be whoever. So they're starting to try and look after the swim team. Cage would be the next one on the list. Buffy, she shadows him as the next target. At the bronze that night, Cage confronts Buffy about her following him, and she tells him she doesn't want to give away, of course, that she's the Slayer and whatnot, but she tells him eventually he might be in danger. But he doesn't believe her, and he leaves, only to be attacked by Angelus in the parking lot. Buffy fights off Angelus, noting as she does that Angelus was spitting out Cage's blood rather than drinking it. The following day, Buffy, Willow and Cordelia sit on the swim practice discussing Angelus's behaviour. They speculate the swim team might be taking steroids, which act as repellent to vampires but an attractant to the sea creature. Xander, he decides he takes the initiative to join the swim team in an effort to get information from the places the girls would not have access to. Buffy, later on, she hears Cage cry out in pain. She takes over from Xander. He's after the swim practice. He's changed, ready to go, and she meets him at the door. And he's like, Cage is still in there, but you know he's not the sharpest knife in the rack, so he's tying his shoelaces. So give him a little bit of time. There was a little bit of good comic moments from Xander, and there's a little joke that he drops as he's leaving Buffy, and that as he like taps her on the shoulder, tag, you're it, and off he goes. It's kind of like the dry sort of humour that you would know from Chandler and Friends. That sort of character was in Xander at this stage. Buffy hears Cage cry out in pain, and she runs in, and as the viewer you're kind of expecting to find him dead, all the inside's gone, just the skin on the floor and the sea creature there. But she comes in and finds him transforming into one of the creatures, and other creatures are in the locker room with him. And Buffy and Giles tell Coach Marn that members of the team are not been killed by the creature, but are been transformed into them. Meanwhile, Xander tries to find out what drug the team members are using and how he can get his hands on it, and they kind of laugh him off. They're in the steam room in the school, and he's like, you know, where can we get the drugs? Like, I need something to up my game, make me a better swimmer. Who do I talk to get it? And they start laughing at him and tell him that the sauna steam that Xander is currently sitting on and inhaling is the drugs they're on. So like everybody in the room on the swim team, you know, main members, backup members of the team, reserves, they're all on it. It's revealed that the nurse of the high school is a co-conspirator with Coach Marn, and they have been conducting experiments on the swim team using fish DNA that some research was found somewhere along the line. In all honesty, I kind of skipped out of this episode once in a while. Again, I didn't find it to be the strongest one, but Marn came across secret documents that were released after the fall of the wall, and you know, it was never perfected, and he thinks he's got it perfected in order to get a winning team. And the nurse of the school, she tries to put an end to everything. She's like, these guys, you know, it was one thing to try and up their potential as swimmers, but they're starting to die off. It's wrong, we have to stop what we're doing. But Marn forces her into an open grate in the floor and drops into the sewers where the creatures are at, and basically feeds her to them. Buffy, shortly after that, she confronts Martin, but he forces her at gunpoint into the sewer, and when she's down there she sees the dead body of the school nurse floating on the water. And she's like, so you're just going to feed me to these guys? And he's like, no, they've already had their dinner, but teen boys, they've got all their needs, you know, referencing the fact that she's in there to, you know, satisfy these guys. And Buffy even makes a joke to herself while she's down there on her own, she's like, that's all my reputation needs, is the girl that did it with the entire school swim team. So they come at her, attack her. She's fighting them off. Xander turns up, asking Coach Martin where's Buffy at. Then he hears her in the sewers below fighting. He knocks Martin out. The gun drops to the floor. Xander reaches down through the hole, grabs hold of Buffy, rescues her, pulls her up to safety. Coach Martin kind of revives again, grabs the gun and attacks him, but is knocked into the sewer accidentally, more or less, and the creatures attack him, and we don't see what's happening down there. You're thinking, okay, this is the guy started all this, these kids are after a bit of revenge out here, they're going to kill him. But Xander and Buffy, they're looking down the drain, and he's out of reach, can't get hold of him. And Buffy looks at Xander and says, gosh, those kids really love their teacher. So they it doesn't say it, but it highly implies that, these guys had their dinner, as Coach Martin said earlier on, and they have all their needs, so that it's, these guys satisfied themselves on the teacher before killing them. It is truly disgusting whenever you think of it that way. Over the next couple of weeks, Xander and the remaining human swimmers are given treatments to undo the effects of the inhaled mutagen. Giles, working with the hospital, gets something set up, and a few weeks they're going to be okay. They're not going to transform into mutants, but while the 3 guys that were transformed into the creatures, final shot of the episode, we see, Buffy had said, I don't think I'll be seeing these guys again. I think, they're going to head off home, sort of a deal. So these guys, they've mutated into creatures that, live in water, the ocean and whatnot. We do see them at the end of the episode leaving the beach to head into the ocean, never to be seen again. This episode, as I said at the beginning, it has its moments, but it's a standalone episode. It's got nothing to do with the bigger storyline of season 2, and for me, I didn't feel it was the strongest one in the series. But if you're a completist, definitely check it out. I don't think in the bigger scheme of things in season 2, the standalone episodes tend to give you something that will be referenced in the huge storyline of the season. This episode doesn't do this one, so this is probably the only one in season 2 that you could skip over if you weren't interested in watching it. But then again, if you're checking out the series, why would you skip over the episode? Anyway, that's going to do it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I will talk to you tomorrow with another little review in the Hammer House of Horror. See you then. This has been a production of Coins Age Media. Thank you so much for listening.